Look at my cheesy ass grin, you guys. Welcome back, you guys. I'm Tassie. This is my Shaman Memoirs channel. And today, before I get into my stories, I am wearing for my lips Ulta's number 208. This was actually my favorite lipstick for a very long time. And then I forgot about it. And then I found it because I was trying on a bunch of different lipsticks, y'all, and none of it was satisfying me. And then I finally found it because in my head, I kept saying, this is the shade I want to wear. But then I was kind of depressed because I was like, oh my God, what if I don't own the shade? I did. I just forgot. Ulta 208. And for my eyes, I am wearing the Kynjii Beauty Collections, which I absolutely love the palette. Okay, ghostly update time. So this past weekend, I actually was asked to hoop Plig for a friend who I've known for a very, very long time. Like, it's really weird, but a long time ago when we first moved to Minnesota, remember that house, you guys, I talked about where the state trail was right behind it? Well, while I was at this house, we started to meet more Hmong people because we were going to the schools and we were finding out all these Hmong people. And then we discovered there were some Hmong people in our neighborhood. Now, when I was younger, I was friends with this guy. He was also friends with my brother, y'all. And we would go visit him, and I met his younger brother in diapers. Who knew when I turned like 27, I was like in the 5th grade around this time. So when I turned 27, I would meet this guy again who I always saw running around in diapers. When he was little, he would always run around with no clothes on, and he always had a diaper only, and he kept trying to kiss me over and over. But who knew, 27, when I'm 27, I would meet this guy and we would become such great friends. And he's like 3 years younger than I am. So anyways, I was going to hoop Plig for him and his mom. And the really crazy thing is, you guys may not know this, but when I hoop Plig, you know how I've mentioned in other videos, okay, I'm going to briefly recap this. The hoop Plig portion, like the verses and everything, it can be taught, all right? So that's how come you're going to have a lot of the old school generation of Hmong people who, when they hoop Plig, the tune and the verses, everything sounds the same. Because it's like learning the ABC song. Once you learn the tune and the words, you can all say the same thing over and over. However, nowadays, a lot of shamans, their spirit guides actually teach them how to hoop Plig. So they're all going to sound very different. Okay, why did Tassie say this? Because when I hoop Plig, it's kind of weird. I go on like a whole journey where I see all sorts of stuff about the person, because remember, this is still my spirit guides coming to teach me and, you know, telling me, and they're doing everything, right? So they still show me the whole vision and everything while I'm hoop Plig. Well, you know, this is not the first time this has happened, but a ghost came when I was hoop Plig, and it was like, I swear to God, you guys, whenever you hoop Plig, it's like the neighborhood is super quiet, right? Nobody's outside. Everybody's gone. You're like, okay, this is a moment we're gonna hoop Plig. So you're getting ready to go, and then all of a sudden everybody's coming. It's just like like a guy was riding on his bike waving at me, and I'm just like, boy, get out of here. But anyways, so now usually when I hoop Plig, sometimes spirits will come, obviously, and then of course the deceased will come as well. So usually people who have somebody who is a ghost that comes, it's going to be, there's something about the person. Because so it can be like, oh, this person wants to come and witness the day. Because when you hoop Plig, it's like a great caring day. So it's like a mini celebration, a celebration of life, of protection. Pretty much that's what it is. So if this individual has like, you know, the spirit of a loved one who has passed away, or this is somebody who they call out to a lot when they're sad or in general, they tend to come when I'm hoop Plig, okay? So I remember, y'all, I was like doing my thing and I was seeing all this stuff, and then all of a sudden, in real life, on the sidewalk, here comes a ghost. And I'm like, oh no, 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 no. Because this ghost, he's looking at me like, oh yeah, I'm gonna come too. And I'm like, no honey, you don't live here. Like, so I felt kind of bad, because I ended up having to take, like, imagine a Godzilla-sized sword, and I cut the path. Like, boy, you is not crossing over here. And then the guy stopped, and he just looked at me, and at the end of the Plig, he was waving goodbye to me because he was leaving. Now, for anybody who doesn't know as well, sometimes when people have a spirit tied to them a lot, right? Like, they shouldn't be there. Like, this is like a ghost, okay? This is like the spirit of someone who has passed. So if you were traumatized by it, or if you cling on to this individual a lot, you know, another method other than having to do the whole ceremony and stuff like that, you can cut the tie off of the individual. Now, again, this is going to depend on the shaman and what their spirit guides will teach them. It's kind of like kakong, so, which is like, you know, black magic in a way. But your spirit guides would actually teach you, if you were a shaman, how to perform that little ritual if you weren't going to do a whole ceremony. Now, there are a lot of, okay, I feel like I'm always like telling y'all these great plans and these great deals, right? And then I'm always that person in the background like, but wait, this is all the bad stuff y'all about to discover. So, you know, it's, the deal was, basically this individual, the ghost who came, is someone who had passed away recently. And the things that I did, though, you guys, because then y'all might be like, well, nobody needs a ceremony then. I wouldn't say that, because the deal was, his mom called me because, you know, she's single, her husband had passed away. She called me and, you know, did it properly where she thought, which is ask or beg for my guides and I to come and Plig for them, right? You know, it's COVID right now. A lot of shamans are not coming out to see a lot of people. And I know this individual really well, their whole family. It goes way back, you know, like he was in diapers, y'all. And so it was just one of those things where she did ask me to come and I was okay with it. And so, you know, I went there, and the deal was, because all they asked, and this is what we agreed to, was to Plig. We're not here to take care of any ghosts, okay? Like, that's out of the deal. That's not part of it, you guys. So what I did, if you were the person, if you knew, or if you were related to the person of the ghost who I saw came when I was Pliging, you know, you would want other things for that spirit, right? Now, for us, though, we only uphold our part of the bargain, and that's pretty much it. So, you know, the deal wasn't, it had nothing to do with that spirit. We never agreed to take care of that spirit. And so cutting that spirit off, you know, like, just think of it as, we don't care where that spirit went. It ain't our problem, you know. But, you know, if that spirit was like your family member, you would care, you know. But in case anybody was wondering, well, what happened to the spirit when he waved goodbye? That's pretty much what it was, because part of when I was doing the Plig, that individual's family, le dakwa, you know, like their ancestral spirits were asking to cut this tie for this individual, right? And we agreed to it because it was something simple, so we agreed to it. But anyways, sometimes I don't like it when certain spirits come, and, you know, because it's kind of like it's an empath kind of a thing, where when you have, like, let's say your mom passed away, right? You were really little, you were very depressed about it, you carry her closely to your heart, and then I'm doing the Plig and your mom appears, and then I'm feeling all this emotion as I'm trying to Plig, and it's just like, but then I got like these tears coming, and I'm like, this ain't even my mom, man. But it's like I'm feeling all the emotions. I don't like that. There are times, and I've mentioned this in an older video, where when people come sometimes for services and I can feel all their emotions, even if they're totally like stone cold, they're not crying, it just hits me like a terrible wall of emotions that aren't mine, and I hate it, you guys. Like, there's time, like literally I will put my hand up and just put up a whole wall against you because I don't want to feel those emotions. Like, it's very rather unnecessary in my view. You know, it's just, you know, you can't live your life always feeling everybody's emotions. You would go crazy. Now, on the hooply topic, so I was explaining to my sister that day, because like we were leaving because we had a bunch of errands to run, right? And I was like telling her, you know, like, because she doesn't know what the feeling is like. And I was explaining to her that for myself, when I go and I hooply, you know, if for anybody who doesn't know the little ritual there, right? There's two parts to it. The first part, okay, there's a lot of parts, but the main part that I'm involved in, the first part, when you first do the first round of, hey, we got this egg and chicken for you, you know, like, come on home. It's extremely heavy. It reminds me of when, if you're a shaman, you will know this feeling. When you go and start to do a ceremony, okay, it's like ceremony day and you are just at the house. You know, they tend to feed you breakfast before you go into the spirit world and start doing your thing. Some shamans refuse to eat because, you know, they don't want to have to use the bathroom. So, but it's that feeling. It's this, for anybody who doesn't know, it's like a super heavy, dark feeling. Like, because there is so much that goes on when you first start. It is ridiculous, you guys. It is this heavy fog. There's a lot of angst everywhere. There's spirits going crazy because, oh God, it's a shaman. This is our moment. We're going to get our say in. And everybody's like lining up for their turn, okay? Like, it's heavy, okay? And so, typically the first part of hooply, whenever I do the ritual for hooply for anybody, it's always this very like, it's like somebody who's very dramatic, right? Like, I think sometimes I'm rather dramatic. Okay. But, you know, like, sometimes, you know, it's like, imagine a very dramatic spirit, you know, like I ain't coming home until you give me this, and I ain't coming home because of this and this. It's just like, and I'm just standing there like, okay, like, get it off your chest. I'm still wrangling you in anyways. It's okay. Like, but you gotta put up with it. And it's like a journey. You have to go through all the layers and you see all of it. And the verses, if you ever listen to the verses, well, when I pay attention to my own verses, because yeah, it's coming out of me, but you guys have to remember, a lot of times a shaman is kind of like a vessel. That's pretty much it. You know, we are a vessel for spirits and they come and do it all. So a lot of times I don't listen. However, if you ever like focus and listen to the verses, sometimes I'll start laughing because some of the things that they say are a little ridiculous. You know, like people who like to lolling, you know, like that's like a term where we call wanderers, or people who like to, you know, never go home. They act like they don't have a home. Okay. So, some of the things that they say, the spirits, what they say and how they describe it, it's really funny. So I'll be like doing it and I'll start to giggle. And then other people who are watching, they're kind of like, what is she giggling about? And then when spirits are yelling and they're really upset, I have to pause and I have to like verbally acknowledge them. Like, oh, olilo, you know, like you gotta do it or else they don't stop. You know, like they just don't, okay? It's kind of like when you're listening to someone's story and you do the proper cues of, oh, okay, and then what happened? Okay, you know, like, that's what it's like, okay? Now, however, when you are done and the chicken has been killed and plucked and cleaned and cooked, you got the cooked eggs, the cooked rice, It is like so freaking easy. It's like the second round, right? The last round. It's just like, man, you know, like, oh, I don't know why y'all put up such a fight. Because I think because for me, I'm so realistic. I see the end goal. Like, y'all just playing around. Like, you just need to put up a show, don't you? Like, that's how I see it. Because I'm like, it doesn't really matter what you're going to say. We're going to capture you anyways. But they love to put up a show is pretty much what it is. Because during the second round, I'm just like, why couldn't it be this easy all the time? You know, like, so yeah, it's really interesting to Hooply. If you are a shaman type who your spirit guide actually teaches you as if you are going into the spirit world and you don't just learn the verses from somebody, it's actually comes out of you naturally. It is a whole freaking drama show. Okay, it's like a whole story happens, but it's the best during the second round because if you ever do the second round, okay, and you find you're struggling still, it's a good chance they didn't come. Now, what happens if the spirit doesn't come, okay? Typically, what we recommend as a shaman, you have to do a whole ceremony, okay? That's just it. Just do the ceremony. So it's just, you'll feel it. It feels so light and airy, like you're strolling on the beach. You got no worries in your life. Like, that's what it's like, you know, during the second round. This was my cap, you guys. Y'all want to see me wear it? Oh, it's so beautiful. Yes, you do have to wash these caps. Shamans sweat, okay? So y'all need to wash your caps. Now, little side note for you guys. When you are kind of like, I think on your first level, the shamans tend to always have to wear their cap. Like, sometimes when people, you know, Shaman, you know, like when you're looking at an illness at your shrine and you don't have to, you know, sit on your bench and go and do the whole thing, right? Sometimes shamans don't need to wear their caps, right? Sometimes they do. Typically, you know, you'll discover why you have to wear your caps and when you don't. And how do you know when you should or shouldn't? Your spirit guides should tell you when you need to wear your cap and when you don't need to wear your cap. I discovered as I progressed in my shamanic journey, I no longer had to wear my cap a lot of the times. Typically though, for if you're doing like a ceremony, we recommend you always keeping your cap on though, especially like the hoopli, right? I can hoopli without a cap on. However, some shamans, they struggle with hoopling without their cap on. Typically when that happens, it's because you don't feel as ready and you need to keep practicing in your journey. But when you no longer need your cap and you can feel uber confident still in all of your verses, in the magic, in understanding the magic when you say the verses, then that's how you know you have really progressed in your journey and your cap is now more so just a nostalgic thing where you only need it just so people don't think you're crazy without a cap on. That's it. But whenever I did go into the spirit world, like sit on my bench and everything, I always wore my cap. It's only, I'm talking about like, you know, looking at illnesses, looking at the future, or even doing a hoopli and stuff like that. I didn't need my cap for the verses to work. Because sometimes people use it like a blanket, you know, it's like a crutch that you just kind of, you need it or else you don't feel like you ready. You know, like what I'm saying? Really do it at your own pace. And I'm just saying, you can wear your cap all the time you want. Okay, you can. Oh, this video, so far into the video, I tell you guys what this video is about. This video is going to be about your strings and how to put them on your tools. Because when I was in California on social media, I had posted about how my tools and I got through TSA with no problem. So, somebody had commented that no one ever taught them how to properly tie the strings onto their tools. So that's what this video is about. Y'all, I have like the cheesiest grins in this video. It's so beautiful, that's why. And I think my tools are ridiculously beautiful. I'm sure all shamans feel this way about their tools. But it's just so pretty. Okay, so a shaman's tools and the string. Now, I need to take some of these off because I'm just going to make a lot of noise. I own a lot of rings. I think I own 10 sets. That's a lot of rings, you guys. Okay, so first thing is the length of the string. The length of the string, it is really up to the shaman. Personally, I prefer longer strings versus shorter ones. What do you mean? Here is my gong, all right? So I prefer longer ones like this, okay? I prefer the really long ones. It's extra long only because of this part. All right, so if I'm holding it straight, notice how this one is much longer than this one. This one over here, it's more of a traditional length of a lot of shamans and how they'll like to do it. But personally, I prefer rather long. It's really up to you. You know, like I have my reasons for why I like longer strings, but if you find them kind of coquet, you know, like they're just in your way, then get shorter ones. You don't need the long ones, okay? Now, cutting of your strings, you know, basically it's really simple. I will take one off and I will show you guys how to put it on. So it's easy because you just pull this little tab here and then you just pull it all the way down and it's off. All right, so when you go to Joann and you get yourself 100% cotton, it must always be 100% cotton. So again, you know, cutting of your string, it's really up to you, your length. This way, the way I do it though, it is a little more wasteful when it comes to the cloth. And so, because when you guys get the cloth from Joann and you go and buy it, how it's measured and how the cloth is set, it is set at a certain length, right? So for most people, they fold the sheet in half and then they cut it and they got 2 strings there, right? But for me, I cut it once and that's only 1 string. And then what I do from the length of it, I then measure however much I want it to go and then I cut it off. All right, so I don't leave it the whole super long one, okay? Because to me, that's too much. All right, so it's going to be 2 sheets put together. So like this is literally like one side. And you know, they can come apart completely like so. You know, so it can come completely apart. But I like to, again, put 2 of them together. And then you fold it in half. All right, so now you're holding onto this loop part here. So then here is the ends that are cut off and open. All right, so I like to make this part a little thin right here. I like to make it a little thin. And again, my finger is in this loop here. What you do is with the ring, you're going to actually insert it from the back. All right, so you just insert it like that and you got your loop up here, right? And then you just kind of hold it as you take the rest of the cloth here and you loop it through. That's it. And then you just tighten it by kind of tugging onto it. And you got it on your actual ring. That's it. That's how you're going to be able to loop it on here. Obviously everybody kind of ties them differently because, you know, it's just however you like it. You want to take the same method and put it onto all of your other tools that you might have. Personally, I prefer this method because it doesn't involve tying a knot. And a lot of times for shamans, when people come to seek them for like spiritual help, we will tie strings on them and the strings come from our tools. So it's easy for us to just, you know, undo it by grabbing this little flap right here. And then you just literally pull it and it comes right off. So you don't have to cut anything and it's really easy. Now, trust me. I'm excited now touching everything, but you know, every new year having to redo all your strings, like it's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of work. when you've done it as many times as I have, it's a lot of work. Ugh. Now, the colors of the strings and everything, you guys, I've done a video on that. You guys can go and check it out, my older videos. I have discussed about the main colors, okay? Black, red, and white. So in reality, you guys, I was supposed to be a red and white shaman. But my teacher, she's old school. Old school shamans, they don't covet psychic spirit guides. Some do. Okay, but I mean like in general. Because they're thinking of your longevity and protection. Because as you guys know, in the shaman community, for Hmong people, there's a lot of crazy stuff that happens amongst shamans, okay? So my teacher, you know, she told me that, you know, she knows that my guides, they want certain things because I have such different types, where I have the really, really psychic ones, but then I also have the demon killing ones. So there comes a point where you need to figure out how to balance these two types, okay? Now, my teacher, though, because they are more old school, being able to, you know, kill ghosts and demons and cleansing people, curing people of illnesses, that's a spiritual attack. That is more valuable in their eyes than telling you when your wife is coming or when your husband's coming or what you ate yesterday, okay? Like, that's not important to them. So my teacher requested that I be an all red shaman. So my cloths and everything, they are all red. I have known black and red shamans. I have known all black shamans, and I have known a lot of red shamans too. I do not know any shaman, I'm trying to think real quick here, that's all white. I know that some people have like gold and blue and green and yellow colors out there, but I don't know any of those types of shamans. They just didn't run in our circle because we were all mainly red and black shamans. So I can't divulge a lot of info on that because I don't know anything about their lineage. Now, I will say that I still love, in my heart, besides white, white flowers. I love white flowers. At the store, I'm always like looking at white flowers, but I don't have white flowers in my home that are real because I have fake ones, okay? I don't have white flowers in my home that are real because they attract spirits, okay? Ghosts also like white flowers. And the last time my boyfriend bought me a dozen white beautiful roses, the ghosts came because they also liked them. So, you know, I couldn't even enjoy those flowers. I was like, I don't want them near me. Because, you know, if I was somebody who couldn't see spirits, okay, no problem. I'd have white flowers around me all the time. But when you can see them also really sniffing and enjoying your flowers, I don't feel okay with that. So, I do not have white flowers in my home. Even though I really, really love them. They are used by a lot of shamans, though, who use flowers. Because there are some shamans who do a lot of shayai, like looking into futuristic stuff. The heck was that? Into futures and stuff. They will use flowers, like carnations, right? You don't need to buy no dozen white roses. I would appreciate it. But a lot of people will buy like the $2.99, $1.99 white carnations, okay? Just because they work just as well. But I'll judge you. Okay, it's like Trader Joe's, man. It's like a dozen roses for like $7.99, okay? I'm just saying. I am not the shamans or shaman types that uses candles, though. I don't use candles. Some people will use like those little golden ones. You know what I'm saying? It's like those Asian ones. Yeah, and then it's like the color yellow. So, a lot of certain types of shamans. They will use a lot of those candles to communicate with spirits and stuff. I don't use those. I only like one solid white one. I tend to buy mine from IKEA because they come in like a box of like a dozen, you guys, and it's a really good deal. So I buy my candles from there. As a shaman, y'all, you will go through a lot of tools, and I always recommend, if you guys have a shrine, get a chest so that it's near your shrine, because the more people you have over, you're going to have an overflow stock of Joss money, of Joss incense sticks, you know, and candles galore. Ooh, and one thing, you guys, when I went to go do filming in LA, this is the last thing, okay, and then I'll go. Okay, so I went to go do filming in LA, and they lit up candles, right? And I was nervous because I cannot blow out candles for shamanic reasons. Like, if I use that candle in any way, in some kind of a shaman ritual, I cannot blow out the candle. You guys, like, you know, like people just, and they blow it out, right? One time, and it really scared everybody who was there, like the person who was watching me as I finished my shaman stuff. I used to always just go up to my shrine and blow out the candle. Well, one day it scared us, where we were like, we didn't want to talk about it because we were that scared, you guys. I went up to my candle like normal to blow it out. It wouldn't blow out. And so, you know, I'm a realistic person. I'm like, do I not have enough lung power? So I was like huffing and puffing, you guys. It would not blow out. I went from different angles. Like, is something blocking me and I just can't see it? But I was so stupid. I could feel there was this wall, like somebody put their hand in front of the flame. But I was so stupid in that moment because I just kept like, I was going at it, you guys. Like, we were going at different angles. I could not blow out this candle. So if you guys have candles for shamanic reasons, get yourself, quit being lazy. Don't use a spoon. Okay, just put your money into it and get one of those real candle snuffers. Okay, it's really cute. I think I got mine at Pure One. Okay. But ever since that day, I never, ever blow out candles with my mouth, because, I mean, that was really scary. Like, we didn't want to talk about it that night because it was too scary to us. Because, I mean, what in the world? How can you not blow out a candle? Yeah. Anyways, that's my ghostly update, you guys. Sorry I'm a little late. It's been sweltering hot here in Minnesota. Yeah, I went to go hooply in that sweltering heat, okay? But I told my girlfriend and them that all I want is some eggs. Like, make sure y'all have eggs for me, okay? They made so many eggs. They kept trying to offer me all the eggs, right? But I felt I couldn't take all the eggs, even though I really wanted to take all the eggs. So I kept like stuffing it into my bag. Like, they gave me a little to-go thing, and I was like putting all these eggs in there. And then I just kept looking at the eggs like, just take the whole thing. But, you know, it's rude to take all the eggs. And so, yeah, I only left, I think, with 7 eggs. I think one of them was supposed to be for my sister, because my sister went with me. And I was going to give her one of the eggs. Okay, my intention, I have full intention to give her one of the eggs. But then she went home and she forgot about her egg. Okay, and one egg rolled in the car. And so I said to her, that's your egg. Okay, but anyways, she forgot about her egg. So I went home and I ate the egg. But man, it never fails. Like, after I finished hoopling, and then I read the chickens for them, and I taught them how to read the chickens, my eyes kept going to their egg. Like, even though, because they had boiled a whole nother pot of extra eggs just so I could eat extra eggs, right? Yeah, no, my eyes kept going to their egg that we had used to hooply. And it just never fails, you guys. My guides will always look at spirit food very differently than other people. They just want it. They think just a little bit, just a bite. Okay, all right, you guys. That's it for this video. Until next time, bye everybody.